here's the thing about everything from the fudge business to me like running in real estate is that and there's two sides of this coin. I need somebody to help me with almost everything, every aspect of my life. Even when it comes down to staying fit, it was really not in my best interest to just lace up and step out the front door for a run. That's not as healthy as you would think. I got to find a teammate. I have to find somebody to run with. And you could say, like, I have to, or there's I get to. I get to run with somebody. I got a running partner every time I go out on the road. Every aspect of my life, including real estate. And there's the thing is, blind or not, I still need a team.
Most people think saving money is the answer. But the truth is, saving only gets you to zero. Join Mike and Zach as they flip the script from saving to earning, from zero to unlimited potential. Welcome to Save to Zero.
Okay, everybody, welcome to episode number 18 of the Save to Zero podcast. I am excited as all get out because we get to speak with Aaron Hale. I've known Aaron for a couple of years now. We originally met through Facebook. We've communicated multiple times. I like to do some adventure stuff, and as much as I like to do it, he kicks my butt, and he makes me look like a couch potato. So I'm actually making it look like, sound like I wanted him on the podcast for other people. I want him on the podcast for me to motivate me some more. And this is a way to get to talk to him one-on-one or with my partner, with the three of us. So this is going to be exciting. Aaron, welcome, and thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you coming on with us today.
Well, yeah, I'm really excited to be on, and this new platform of yours and getting to speak with you anyways is always a treat. Talking about adventure, you're going to be basically climbing Mount Everest in Sun Valley. So, I mean, that doesn't sound like much of like being a slacker by any means.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but what we have to do is that event you're referring to is Everesting 29029, Jesse Itzler's event. And we'll be going up the mountain, the ski hill 15 times in 36 hours. And cumulatively, we'll reach the height of Everest. But honestly, it's not quite Everest, but it sounds good anyway. It impresses people. So, Aaron, let's kind of dive in. Can you give us a 50,000-foot view of your background? I know you're former military. I know that you've got a wife and kids. I know you've done some crazy stuff like Badwater 135. I know you just came back from Kili because I was watching that in your Facebook feed. So I know I just threw a whole lot at you. Give us a 50,000-foot overview.
Oh, you got it. Well, you know what? My life is like the definition of ADHD. I'm the blindest guy with shiny object syndrome, I guess. But I was kind of the all-American slacker when I was growing up as a kid in Ohio. I didn't have a whole lot of ambition. I was really happy and complacent. Really? Went to college, did not knowing what the heck I was going to be doing, and kind of just went for Animal House, and I found it. So after a few semesters, they kind of invited me to leave. So
okay, that's great.
It was really embarrassing. That was a shame. It was a swift kick in the pants, and that slap in the face of reality. Like, I needed to make something out of my life. So, my entire life, 18, my entire life, I absolutely knew up until about a month before enlisting that I'd never be in the military. That just wasn't my deal. But then, college, it was a huge fail. So I joined the Navy as a cook because I loved to cook. I thought I might try my hand at becoming a chef. Mm-hmm. And I decided to get the OJT, get the GI Bill, earn, the internal values, hard work, work ethic, pride and accomplishment, all that kind of stuff. And I accidentally picked up the external values and duty, service, working with a team and something bigger than myself. Anyhow, 4 years now turned into 13, almost 14 years. And I went from Navy cook to Army bomb squad, because that makes sense. I was
makes a
cooking for
lot
a
of
three.
sense.
I was cooking for a 3-star admiral in Italy, touring all over the Mediterranean and Europe, and learning the language, and definitely not a hardship duty. And then 2 wars happened, and I got all those internal and external values, and I just wasn't being challenged, and I decided that I needed to do something, serve better. And that's when I joined the Army, became an EOD technician, explosive ordnance disposal, deployed to Afghanistan, then Iraq, then Afghanistan again. And I was injured. An IED blasted my eyes, sent me to Walter Reed, where I was recovering, and changed my whole life in many, many ways. Not just going blind, but in perspective, in life, and growth, and maturity, and all of that. So I did what anybody in my situation would do, and I started whitewater kayaking.
Where did you start whitewater kayaking?
Well, actually, the truth is, I was, before I'd even left the hospital, somebody had asked me, I'm blind, I'm kind of down the dumps, and somebody asked me, hey, you want to go golfing? I'm like, come on, you're messing with me. Golfing? I'm blind. And apparently, blind golf is a real thing.
Interesting.
Instead of a caddy, you got a coach, and the coach, they use all the real PGA Tour rules and all that. The coach just grabs the head of the club, you tee up, and then the coach places the club behind the ball, and then you line up on the club, not the ball. Anyhow, then the same guy comes in, this recreational therapist, and he says, hey, you want to go for a bike ride? I'm like, okay, come on. Now you're messing with me. But of course, tandem cycling is a Paralympic sport, and very serious also. I started cycling, and then I was learning how to be blind. So all the accessibility stuff, and the text-to-speech software, the phones, the computers, it's incredible, the technology today. And as soon as I learned how to get onto the internet, I was doing blind plus outside, blind plus fitness, blind plus whatever, because I was terrified of being stuck on the couch and confined by my disability. And a couple of names kept popping up, like Eric Weinmayer is the first blind person to climb Mount Everest.
Okay.
So I found him. I went mountain climbing with him. And Lonnie Bedwell, another Navy veteran, is the first blind person to kayak the entire Grand Canyon in a solo boat.
Holy cow. Wow.
I went kayaking with him. And
That's fantastic.
so I mean, I found mentors. I found people who had already done it. I wasn't blazing any new trail, and I just did what they did. And from 2011, when I was injured, for 2015, I got to go mountain climbing and whitewater kayaking. I went skydiving, skiing. You should see me skiing. It's about me blind skiing is about as good as me sighted skiing, but all the same. I was running marathons, and I was again. I don't know if it was driven by adventure or that sheer terror of the couch, but whatever it was, I was getting out there and doing stuff, and people were asking me how I could have such a optimistic look on life after what happened. And they would invite me onto their stages and I would tell them the story. And then in 2015, a complication from my injury. I had a cracked skull from the blast, and they patched it up, but I guess it wasn't completely patched. So a path out was a pathway in, and I contracted bacterial meningitis.
Oh,
And that put me back in the hospital. It actually came closer to killing me than bomb blast did, but
interesting.
On its way out, it took the rest of my hearing that the blast hadn't taken, and my inner ear gyro, the vestibular balance. It was left with that too. So I came home totally blind, totally deaf, and imbalanced. Though you could already tell that before. But I was in a wheelchair, and I was just sitting there like in my breakfast bar, holding on to the countertop with GI Joe kung fu grip because I would fall off the stool otherwise. And I was right back in that awful place, thinking about how I can't do this or I can't do that anymore. My life is over. So I did what anybody would do in my situation. I started a fudge company.
Right. You're going to have to go into a little more detail about the fudge company. We were talking about it before we started recording.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question, though. I definitely want to go into the fudge company. I definitely want to look at that. But I want to back up a little bit. Were you always an adventurous individual or a person that wanted to challenge yourself? The reason I ask that, because to go from a cook to EOD seems to me to be a significant change. And is it something that you always were trying new things like that? Or did that just come about when you decided to serve a little bit more?
It's funny you would ask that. It's actually a really great question because I always catch these glimpses of what that potential that everybody told me I had. That's like the best put down ever. Is like, you've got so much potential. That was me in my childhood, my young adult life, and my sophomore summer of high school, I'd raised enough money by selling arts and crafts like Christmas decor, little wreaths and Christmas trees, in the teachers' lounge, to send myself to Australia New Zealand for 3 weeks.
Good for you. That's cool. I love it.
Cool. That's really cool.
So you've always had the entrepreneurial spirit and then the desire to travel. Am I correct?
Yeah, I love to travel. Yeah, and I love the entrepreneur stuff, but I would plateau, right? I would reach a certain level or like a finish line and go, okay, I made it. I'm done. I got it. Whew, that was awesome. That was hard. I don't want to do that again, but it was cool. You know what I mean? So I didn't have that diligence, the dedication, the discipline to continue doing that level of work. I would do something, and then I would sit back and relax and get complacent until I was bored or depressed or something. But even in the military, I was placed in leadership roles way before I ever wanted to or even asked. They would just give me a new rank and put me in charge of some people. I'm like, where does it got me? I'm the slacker guy.
That's funny.
But then I would grow into it, and then I'd get comfortable again. I'm like, all right, that was good enough. I got it. I got this. This is good right here. I like it. And then they would do it again. But in fact, even the fudge business, that was something different. That was like kitchen therapy.
So what made you pick fudge? I know that you said you were a cook. So did you have a recipe when you were in the military? Is this something that you came up with, a family thing?
Truth is, I never really much liked fudge, all that. Definitely not the traditional stuff. But I did love to cook, and I love placing smiles on other people's faces. And if you can imagine, I mean, I was just back from the hospital. It was getting into the holidays, and I needed to get my mind off of what I'd lost. I mean, I was trapped in my body. I was so isolated and lonely in there, and my whole life, the whole world ended at my fingertips. It was silent and dark. It was like that. Sensory deprivation. It was sensory theft. But I knew that I could cook. I had that muscle memory, and the holidays were coming. So I just started. We invited everybody. We were going to invite a whole family from all over the country, friends, neighbors, whatever. Even because I'm close to the EOD schoolhouse. In the military, some younger guys, they get stranded on the base during like a base shutdown. Everybody goes. It's like a exodus for the holidays, but some don't have leave days, don't have enough money saved up to travel back to their families. So we invite them over here. So it was going to be this huge feast. And I started cooking weeks in advance. We did like a turkey in the oven, turkey in the smoker, turkey in the deep fryer. We did I turned every vegetable into something super unhealthy. The cakes, pies, cookies. I just baked and was cooking and just put it in the freezer till the day. And the fudge was I have like a base recipe and I could just change the flavors and ingredients. So it was like, okay, we did this with the peanuts and whatever, and then we moved that to the side and just start another batch and we'll go to the spice cabinet and this, a little of that, and go to the liquor cabinet and put in there a little here. And
I love
it. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, said she noticed two things. One was a smile on my face. And this was like 6 months after the meningitis. And it was the first time she'd seen me smile because of all of that. But I was having fun. I was cooking and I was excited for the holiday. It was Thanksgiving was coming and I was going to do this huge spread. And the other thing she noticed was the fudge was just piling up. So she like they say, she snuck some out. Like you got to be real stealthy around a blind deaf guy. But she was sneaking it out and giving it away. And friends, neighbors, and they started coming back and asking if they could buy some for a birthday or a shower or something. And the capitalist in me said, well, of course you may. And all of a sudden, Extraordinary Delights, or EODfudge.com, was born.
That's clever.
And it just snowballed. What was kitchen therapy for me turned into a business. And for the next couple of years, that's all we did was kind of figure out how to go from bake sale to e-commerce.
Interesting. So now, my understanding from when we spoke a little bit before we started recording is that you're no longer doing the fudge, or you're close to not doing it anymore, and you're more focused on the real estate. Is that correct?
That's right. We had a great run. It's been about 11-ish years right now with that, and it's done so much for me. Of course, helped me get through a difficult time. It picked my family up and actually funded this place for a while. And like I'd mentioned before, it kind of turned into this brand. I was Aaron, the fudge guy, the guy who sells fudge to buy rentals. And the thing was, we'd actually started making some revenue. We'd actually made decent money. We wanted to do something. We wanted to invest it, right? And that's the whole thing. You take the active money and you do passive things with it. You get the money to work for you and bring home more money. So that's what we want to do. We wanted to set ourselves up for more passive. So I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to stand behind a stove for the rest of my life. And so we looked into real estate, and our very first investment, now I get this one, because I love doing everything the easy way. For a blind deaf guy, the first investment was out of state burr using hard money from an online auction.
Fantastic. I like the way you always do the easy stuff. That's very impressive.
And it turned out exactly like you would think. It's a complete disaster. Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, it was. I was underestimated the rehab budget by double.
Wow!
And I told my contractor what the rehab would cost, and that didn't work. But it was 2019, and thank goodness for that market, because it saved our butts. Even though I underestimated the rehab, I'd also underestimated the ARV and the rental revenue. So we were able to get a much better rent for it, but much better cash out refinance. And we just about broke even. Anyhow, cut our teeth really like the hardest way, but that was heart attack and hair pulling, but we got it done, and that's how we got started in burr investing. But we started doing burr stir, renovations into short-term rentals, and we've got about 8 units between in Akron, Ohio. That's where I grew up. I've got family there. I've got a great team together that helped us get rolling. And we've been investing here in the Florida Panhandle for the last couple of years as well.
So let me ask, when you got into real estate, how did you educate yourself on that? Was it YouTube videos? Did you learn from somebody? How did you go about that?
How does anybody else do it? Bigger pockets.
Okay.
Well, it really, that was, it was podcasts, it was YouTube, it was anything I could find to do that beginner education, and that's all I did. It was all day. That's I have this like dog with a bone kind of thing where I study and I network, and that's the biggest thing is I was talking to everybody. I'm in a military real estate investor group called From Military to Millionaire War Room. And I was just, I was talking to everybody. And, I'm like the pesky little brother, that's what I was like, wait, how do you do that? And what if this happens? And how about, but here's the thing about, everything from the fudge business to me, like running in real estate, is that there's two sides of this coin, right? Like everything, I basically need somebody to help me with almost everything, every aspect of my life. Because it really, even when it comes down to staying fit, it is really not in my best interest to just lace up and step out the front door for a run.
No, I would think not.
That's not as healthy as you would think. So I got to find a teammate. I have to find somebody to run with. And you could say, like, I have to, or there's I get to. I get to run with somebody. I got a running partner every time I go out on the road. And that's the same thing with the kayaking, the same with mountain climbing, the same with every aspect of my life, including real estate. And what I read, and I've heard the term before, but I read David Green's out of state real estate investing in his core four, and he invests out of state all over the place, just by building, a trusted team. And that's what I did. And that's the thing is, blind or not, I still need a team.
Sure.
And it could be five minutes down the road or 5 states across. I still got to get that team.
How long did it take you from when you first decided to really get into real estate to buying that first flip? Because a lot of people, they will spend years educating themselves and they never do anything. And you don't strike me as the kind of person that doesn't do anything. So how long did that take you?
I'm a real slacker. No, I think from the just time we decided we were going to do real estate until the first closing was 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the education phase, and the revenue building phase, because it was 2015 when we started doing the fudge. 2017 when we said, okay, we need to do something with the profits, and 2019 when we actually found a place to start putting the money.
Okay. And what made you go into short-term rentals?
That was actually a little bit of an accident. We were originally going to do midterm rentals. My sister was once a traveling nurse. And I do know that Akron, Ohio is a great place for traveling nurses because there are 3 major hospitals in a very close proximity. And we just knew from the way my sister talked about it, is this really hard, even especially back then, almost 9 years ago, it was really hard to find furnished places that in that in between, that midterm.
Yep.
The only thing was the second house that we purchased was a 4-bed, 2-bath, and we were going to rent out by the room, and found out that traveling nurses don't really like sharing bathrooms. So short-term rental was the fallback. And we could rent the whole place out. It was already furnished because that's what we'd planned.
Right.
So we started with short-term rentals. The first property, that online auction thing with the disaster, that was actually our first long-term rental. And we kept that for a couple of years and then sold it off. But then we found a model that really works. We found a pattern. We started building the system way better than the first time, and started adding, just doing the same thing. Lather, rinse, repeat, with some older properties that needed some TLC in the Akron area.
Excellent. So now, you said you also have some stuff on the Florida Panhandle as well, correct?
That's right. And we do a similar setup there. It's more like a secondary market, kind of like Akron, the secondary, tertiary markets. We're not right on the coastline, but half an hour, 40 minutes from the coast, in just smaller cities that are growing. And we know we're going to get the appreciation as well as the cash flow from doing these BRRRR investments.
That's fantastic. So what is your long-term goal? Do you have a number that you want to hit with short-term rentals? Are you looking to go into maybe multifamily? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's another progression. We started becoming limited partners and doing some private lending. And I really do enjoy the process, the project, putting the team together, finding the funding, and seeing this property, these properties transform. Not seeing, you know what I mean? But it's not passive. Definitely not short-term rentals.
No.
So we're kind of looking for more passivity. So it's good cash flow. It's good appreciation. Not Akron, but the Florida is both. We've got the cash flow and some appreciation, and we're again we've been doing the the next progression into passive investing with more lending and more just limited partnerships and syndications.
Are you lending money to other real estate investors? Am I understanding that
Yes.
correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. How are you doing with that? How do you like that in terms of passivity?
Well, I enjoy it. I think it's great. I work only with other, flippers or operators that I know have a great track record that I trusted often from that military group. We're pretty tight, and it's not that I'm incredibly savvy in that. I just have been on the other side. I know what I know what to look for as far as who's doing it right, who's not, and who's got all their ducks in a row when it comes to paperwork and all that. However, um, it's not exactly the avenue I'm going as far as the lending goes. I would much rather have it sitting and in a fund or sitting in um, a long-term vehicle that's doing good steady income or growth.
Gotcha. Well, some people, when they're out there investing and they're putting money into a fund, they're trying to get, 15, 20% returns. They're looking at Bitcoin, et cetera. What are you focused on in terms of long term? What do you think is a fair rate?
15, 20 sounds pretty optimistic if you're just doing completely passive and you think some other operator, some other entity is going to give you that kind of return. I would consider that probably pretty speculative or risky.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
Yeah, I would too.
Me
I would love to get those returns. So what do you, just so that our audience understands, because, this is going to be a learning thing for them as well. As a person who's learned and has been on both sides, what do you think is an appropriate amount for someone to get safely and passively?
It can vary. It really can. But what I did, it's a spectrum, right? From that active to passive. The more hands off you get, the less return you're going to get for yourself. Yeah, you can do 25, 30, whatever percent if you are rolling up your sleeves and putting in the sweat equity.
Yep.
But if you are trying to just hand your money to somebody else, I'm thinking you could. I mean, even if you are just the lender and you're lending yourself,
Yep.
individual projects, you could probably squeeze anywhere from like 10 to even 15%, maybe. But then you're still doing the work, and you got to do your due diligence and all that. But if you're going purely passive, you hand your money over to somebody who's going to invest your capital for you. I'm
Yep.
thinking anywhere from 7 to 10% is
Gotcha.
probably a good range. Maybe,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, that's
agree.
what we find. So let me switch gears a little bit now. Tell us a little bit more about the challenging adventure activities that you're doing. Tell me about Badwater 135.
Oh my gosh, Badwater. Oh, man. So talk about good idea fairy landing on your shoulder. Somebody said you should run the toughest foot race on earth. And I said, why not? So yeah, Badwater 135. It's a 135-mile race from the lowest point in North America, the Badwater Basin, Death Valley, to the Mount Whitney portal.
Wow.
It's over 2 mountain ranges and halfway up one mountain, Mount Whitney. So, and yeah, it's really hot. But
Yes.
it took me 42 hours and 17 minutes and I don't remember the seconds, but it was brutal. I became the first blind deaf person to complete that.
It's amazing.
in
What
2023.
Now, when you did that, what time of the year was it? What are we talking about temperatures wise? I mean, this is Death Valley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty hot.
Okay.
I think it got upwards of 125, maybe even 128 at a point. It was it's like the end of July. It's middle of summer.
You said you always have people go with you, like when you do runs and stuff outside your door. When you were doing this, were you on your own or did you find somebody who's going to go with you?
Yeah, another crazy person.
Yeah.
Well, I live in Florida, right? And you know what's funny too, because I don't know if it's my Nordic Viking blood or whatever from the Great Lakes area, but I've been in Florida for like 14 years, and I still am not used to the heat and humidity.
I can't.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's like 8 months out of the year I don't want to go outside. So then they said, you'd better start training for this Badwater thing. So I put my treadmill in my garage, and you get that heat and humidity, and you keep the door shut, and the sun just radiates into that tin door, and it's like Satan's jockstrap.
Yeah, practice sweating just as much as running.
Oh, it's so awful. And you know what? It's not just running on the treadmill. My coach had me doing power walking with a weight vest.
Okay.
If there's anything I hate more than heat and humidity, it's power walking. It's like I have two speeds. That's run and stroll. The meander. But the thing was, with the Badwater, I actually ended up with, and I felt like an unfair advantage. I was over prepared.
Really?
I had this humidity beat down in Florida for months and months, and I get to Death Valley, and it was the funniest. It was so funny. I couldn't help myself. I got to step out of we're like 2 days before the race started, and the teams gathered together. We're going to do some like shakeout miles, and I was just waiting for it. We stepped outside to the parking lot, and somebody goes, "Oh my God, it's so hot," and the big stupid grin on my face. I'm like, "Yeah, but it's a dry heat." Softball.
That's funny.
Anyways, that was just one of the things. I had like this world-class team, my coach and others on the team helping me the whole way. I ran into so many, the proverbial wall. I hit that thing so many times. I don't know how I didn't get even more disfigured. But we did it. I mean, it was one of the toughest things I'd ever done. Maybe until just a couple of weeks ago, and it was one of the most wonderful things I've ever done. But then, like I mentioned, just a couple of weeks ago, I just came back from Africa.
I want to jump into that because I want to go
hear
up.
it.
I'd like to climb Kili as well. Tell me about the Cedar Summit expedition. This sounds amazing.
Oh my gosh, this was awesome. It was also brutal. I ran from the coast of Africa, from Mombasa, Kenya, 204 miles to Mount Kilimanjaro, and became the first blind deaf person to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Or I don't know, citation needed, but definitely most probably the one who's finished, the first blind deaf person to do this Cedar Summit run Kilimanjaro.
So tell me, how long did it take you to do it? How many days were you out there on this Cedar Summit run?
Stage one was 9 days. We did about a marathon a day. And
9 days. Wow.
The last day was only 10 miles, but that was like straight up to the gates of Kilimanjaro National Park. And we'd planned for that. But it would be nice if I could have just like eased into it start off nice and gentle and maybe got into the hard parts. But the day one, just getting out of Mombasa was like a swift punch in the face. It was a haymaker. It was super hot. The traffic, the streets. Somebody needs to call that city's Department of Transportation and Phil. But it was brutal. Traffic, pedestrians, curbs, dirt, sand dunes in the middle of the city. And I told you I have a balance issues besides not just being able to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But we got out of the city, and it was probably maybe like the 12 worst miles of my life. And then each day after that, it was really, really hot. It reached about 104 degrees or so.
Wow.
But it started getting better each day. Maybe we got a little bit better at the process of the system we were using. But then the weather actually, it was like we'd pass some rite of passage or something. But each day, the more clouds rolled in, then it started to drizzle, and it cooled us off, washed that sweat and dust. And then it was like a torrential downpour. Until we were hiding in the truck because lightning was striking around us.
Wow.
But then we made it to Kilimanjaro. Took a couple days off just to rest, recuperate, and then switched from running mode to mountain mode and started climbing up the mountain. It took about 4 or 5 days.
So what other, as we kind of wind up here, what other adventures do you have planned? Have you got anything on the schedule that we can watch for?
Right now, we're planning this out. I'm in the brainstorming mode right now. We're actually talking about maybe Mount Vincent Massif, the tallest peak in South America. South America, Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so maybe one of my buddies, I don't know if I may be able to convince him, but one of my friends actually guided my other blind friend, Lonnie, the kayaker. He's also a mountaineer. He's completed the 7 summits, but he skied to the South Pole and climbed Vincent in the same trip. So that's a potential. I don't know. If you got any crazy ideas, I'm all ear.
Well, I got to tell you, I can't imagine anything more than you've already done. So I'm using you for inspiration. I'm not going to be much help for you. What about you, Zach? You got any ideas?
Not anything nearly as cool as climbing the tallest mountain in Antarctica. I mean, even just going to Antarctica is a feat for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Maybe I go hang out in Sun Valley. I hear it's pretty posh.
Well, I actually want to walk to Everest Base Camp. That's a 14-day hike. So that's on my list. So I do have some stuff that I'm thinking of doing. And I want to go to Antarctica as well. I know that Lois and I like to travel, and we've got 9 countries coming up this year. And that'll bring us up to 51 altogether on our goal towards 100 in all 7 continents. So, but I don't see myself running in Africa or doing the sea to summit.
I love Africa too.
Oh yeah, Kenya. We've been to Kenya and Tanzania, and for me, Kenya is just it has a special place for me in my heart. We just had such a great time there.
They're such wonderful people. They're generous, they're friendly, and I love the food. They take fruit juice to a whole other level.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Aaron, we really appreciate you coming on. This has been fantastic. I know that you do public speaking as well, and I'm sure people will want to, get a hold of you, follow you. How can people get a hold of you if they want to? And we'll put this in the show notes as well.
Yep.
Well, I'm on all the major social media platforms. Facebook is probably my primary, Facebook and LinkedIn. But they can, of course, find me, the Point of Impact podcast, at pointofimpactpod.com. And I'm Aaron at outofsightventures.com. That's OUTTA. outofsightventures.com.
That's
Gotcha.
very clever.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Aaron, thank you very much for coming on. This was fantastic, inspirational. I knew I was really going to enjoy it, and I did. So thank you so much for your time.
Mike, Zach, thanks for having me. It was a great conversation. Really appreciate
Yes,
it.
it was.
Awesome.